We must understand the politics of our community.
Shooting that sent 3 people to the hospital in Cumberland County. This happened on the 300 block of North Pearl Street in Bridgeton around 10 p.m. last night. We're told all 3 victims had to be airlifted by a helicopter.
Shot and killed in front of her Bridgeton home. Police say 44-year-old Erica McNair was on her front porch with 2 others when gunfire rang out early.
Delivery driver was leaving Tips Trailer Park in Fairfield Township when a man approached his window, flashed a handgun, and demanded money. And now police need your help finding out who he is. The suspect stole approximately $600 in cash from the victim before fleeing.
Kid lost their life for nothing.
First tonight, a community mourns a young life cut very short. The intensifying search for the shooter after a little girl is killed by a stray bullet. Good evening, I'm Jesse.
I will personally knock on doors in that neighborhood asking for help.
Neighbors say the violence, especially gun violence, is getting out of control in Bridgeton.
Well, you know what? What saddens me is you talk about, we go back to 2007 when I came back to Bridgeton to try to help my nephew. My nephew, Raheem Lamar Stubbs, who lost his life on December 24th, 2008. From my nephew dying, just walking in my sister Sharia house, there's a picture of Raheem and 3 of his friends. Every young person in that picture dead. All 4 of them gone. So when you talk about the number of lives that we've lost here in the city of Bridgeton for as far as for young African-American men, it's a countless number. At this point, and I'm a grown man, I've come almost, it's become socially acceptable here. One of the things that we're seeing here too often now is I'm talking to kids and we're hearing so many young people saying, I don't got no more tears left, and they teenagers. How does that happen? We're losing a kid every 3 months. Every 3 months. And that number in itself is mind blowing. 2008, I made a list of the 50 most at-risk kids in the city of Bridgeton. 2008. I have the 50 most at-risk kids, 30 of them in prison. 30 in prison, 8 dead. Other 12 floating.
Just watching the segment. So when you think of that segment right there that you presented, what goes through your mind? What flutters through your mind?
First and foremost, it's an honor and privilege to be here. First thing flow through my mind is a quote. It's a quote that I wrangle with daily. Said it's easy to it's easy to cherry pick your moral outrage when you haven't lost any skin to the game. When I think about the losses that we've taken here in the city of Bridgeton and in Cumberland County, it wasn't easy for me to cherry pick my moral outrage. I lost skin. I lost a nephew. I lost kids that I dealt with every single day. I lost kids who I consider part of my family. So I'm outraged. I'm pissed off. I'm angry at myself. I'm angry at parents. I'm angry at our community leaders. I got enough anger to go around, but at the same time, I'm also wise enough to know that anger ain't gonna change or fix what we need to get fixed here. Right. It's gonna take real work. And what we have to do, we gotta be willing actually to put our egos to the side and say, look, I'm doing it for the betterment of the community. I'm doing it for the betterment of the kids. If you can't do that, if you won't do that, then you're part of the problem.
Right. So let me just ask you, when you think of your community over the last 10 years, what is the most evident statement that you can honestly state about your city and the community that we live in? Because I'm also a part of this community too.
You know what I could say? I could say iron sharpens iron. We've lost a lot. We've also learned a lot. We have so much more to do because we've lost so much. Over the course of the last 10 years, it's ironic you asked that question. We ended this decade today, the last day of this decade. For me, it's been carnage. When I think of the young people that passed away, I'm holding a obituary now. Spoke at that young man's funeral last Tuesday, Christmas Eve. The last 10 years, what I see David Sapp, 19. Murdered on April 26, 2011.
Right.
I did CPR on David when he got shot. I'm riding through Tips Trailer Park.
Wow.
Again, I can't cherry pick my moral outrage. This is, you know, the old saying, they said, you want to hear something funny, tell God what you got planned. I'm just riding through the neighborhood with my wife in the passenger seat of my car, my 2 kids in the back.
It just happened.
And Paul Willoughby standing in the middle of the road recognized my car because they just went to a travel basketball game with me, recognized my car, flagged me down. I get out, and a 19-year-old boy is laying on the ground. His head was resting in the hands of a New Jersey state trooper. And I asked that state trooper, I showed him my CPR certification, took it out of my wallet. It was a group of maybe 40 young people between the ages of 13 and 20 out there.
Right.
I asked that trooper if he wanted me to perform CPR on David, or if he wanted me to control the crowd. He asked me to perform CPR.
Wow.
Now I get on my knees. What this decade did to me the last 10 years, I get on my knees and I'm doing CPR on another person, and in my city that's dying. 3 years before that, I did the same CPR procedure on my mom, who died of a heart attack as a result of rushing to the scene of my nephew getting shot.
Wow.
So I'm at it again. It ain't just moral outrage, it's blood on my hands. I got the blood of this young man on my hands, literally. Now I gotta go in my pocket, and I gotta call his mom. I probably picked David up and put him in my car 20 times for him to go play basketball. One of the best basketball players ever seen. Penns Grove, Delaware, Salem. I took him there. He balled out. Now I got to call his mom and tell her that her 19-year-old son dead. But God, because when I made the phone call, his mom was pulling up. Somebody had already called. That's what the last 10 years been like for me.
Right.
It's been joy, it's been pain. But it's time to start doing the work.
Right. So, now in that previous interview that we just watched, we shot a few years ago, you know, it was definitely deep. The amount of black males you stated that passed away to gun violence, you stated were a part of your programs, just like you said with David Sattman. A lot of the boys that, you know, that have gone, you know, you and I and a lot of others have played with them on the basketball courts, always dropped nuggets of knowledge on, you know. So we've seen them throughout the years, and I definitely understand how it feels to feel like you're losing one of your own, you know, because in this small community, we all felt like family. So, but let me ask you this: where do you feel the gap was that claimed a lot of their mindsets, and that's from those that, you know, they might not have lived the perfect lifestyle.
Well,
and you got the shooters also. I want to talk about that too.
Well, you know what? To be honest with you, it started at home for every single one of them.
Right.
It starts at home.
Right.
I don't care what religion you believe in. At the end of the day, it takes a woman and a man to create a child. You can't be an absentee father.
Right.
You can't be an absentee mother.
Right.
That kid needs you. Over the course of time, we've been arguing about the battle over nature versus nurture. It boils down to both parents. First and foremost, the two most important people in the lives of any child is their parents.
Right.
If you have one missing, that kid gonna have something missing in his or her life. And they're gonna search for that. They're gonna be looking for that the remainder of their lives.
Right.
I say in front of you today as a 43-year-old man who was absent a father. I didn't get a real male role model until I was 15. And I grew up in Amity Heights.
Right.
But God,
Right.
if I ain't have good teachers, if I ain't have good coaches, I wouldn't have made it till my mom met Frank Tillman.
Right. Right.
For a lot of these kids that we lost, it started at home. Moms who was doing their best. A lot of them didn't have father figures.
Right.
Or their dads were somewhere else raising other kids.
Right.
Or their dads was completely disconnected from them living here. So they was looking for something else.
Right.
And the thing about it is, and I ain't trying to make this religious now, but the devil will provide what's missing
Right.
in an instant.
Right.
For me to get a kid in the building to play in a program or get him off the street, I got to go to 10 meetings,
Right.
shake 53 hands, get permission from 5 different people to get him in the building. The devil, he could walk outside this building, the devil will hand him a gun and give him some drugs in a minute.
Right.
ASAP.
Right. And you know what, not to cut you off, but you said something years ago about how a preacher can ride by in a nice Mercedes-Benz, see one of these young men and just ride on by, and then you'll have a drug dealer do the same thing, but he'll actually stop. Speak on that, you know, because I believe that's a big issue too. Like,
one of the things, you know what, Levi, is sad because we bought into the idea of I got mine, so I'm good.
right.
I can't show them too much.
Right.
Because they're going to try to touch it, or they going to break it,
Right.
or they going to want it.
Mm-hmm.
Those drug dealers pulling up in those nice cars, they're going to throw the young boy in the front seat, because what they're going to say is, this is my young boy, I'm about to groom him.
Right.
I'm going to show you how to get this money.
Right.
An everyday working man, a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
they ain't pulling up on those young boys and throwing them in the car and say, I'm going to teach you how to either find God, or I'm going to show you how to make money
Right.
the right way.
Right.
For them, that I don't want to speak from their perspective, because I don't know what it's like to be from their perspective, but I know what it's like to see a kid being rolled by.
Right.
So the idea is, one of those people are, unfortunately, are sitting high and they looking low.
Right.
And they don't feel like they need to touch that kid in that way. But as soon as that kid murdered, died, they want to pray for the family.
Right.
They want to do an unbelievable eulogy at the funeral.
Be seen.
But to be seen, be heard, and act like they care. But you done rolled by that boy right there 3 or 4 times.
Right.
You don't even know his name until you get the obituary. The drug dealer knew who he was since a little boy.
Right.
Because unfortunately, the time that we living in, our drug dealers are more community-based than our churches.
Right.
No more than the people inside of our churches.
So, and you know what? It's crazy because last night I was going online and, you know, I happened to type in Bridgeton, New Jersey, right? So, of course, you know, in Bridgeton, New Jersey, you're going to see a lot of different hood fights and all that. But you also saw the police shooting of the brother Jerome that happened a few years ago.
Jerome
I
Reed.
saw all the marching and all the protests, which is good. You know, that's always good, the protest. But we protest on one thing, and it's like we turn a blind eye when it's our own shooting, our own also. So I want you to speak out to that, because I've also seen you over the last few years try to bring families out. But it's like pulling, like you just was saying about, you just lost another brother, a friend of yours that I've seen for years referee your games.
Yeah.
So, and you stated in a post, a live post, that you didn't have to tell him to come out to referee a basketball game.
I ain't have to tell Akbar to come. He came.
When you see stuff like that, you know, like protests, and then they had to remember the gun violence. You had 1,500. They broke a world record, right, of the amount of people for a gun violence rally. But that was years ago. Where are they at now? So I want you to speak to that also. Tell me your thoughts on that.
You know what? One of the sad part about it is, Levi, one of the things that we get, what we do here is it's like it's like one of those people that procrastinate a lot and start projects and never finish. We got a lot of energy when it's the start of something.
Right.
And then the attention span or the interest go down, and that project is put to the side, and then you pick up another one.
Right.
And you start that one, and then you put it to the side, and you pick up another one.
Right.
Next thing you know, your garage is filled with stuff you started and you never finished. That's where we at now. We at a point where we do a lot of starting. This community's been ignited by incident after incident after incident. We see a spark at the beginning, and it usually flames out. The one thing that we have to be is consistent.
Right.
We got to be consistent in everything we do. When you talk about black on black crime, people are like, oh, he's black on black. Yeah, a black man got murdered by another black man. That's a black killing a black.
Right.
I think that's black on black crime.
Right, that's fact.
I want to be correct on that. So it happens, and on social media you'll see if that young man or young lady or apprehended or put in jail, you'll see a group of people make a post like, free the guy.
Right.
And you know he committed murder.
Right.
That's stupid.
Right.
That's beyond stupid.
That's ignorant.
That's beyond, that's not
even.
It's below ignorant.
Right.
It's dumb as hell.
Right.
You'll be saying free the guy, and then the same people will be at the funeral talking about rest in peace.
Yeah.
We confused.
Right.
Our community is confused to a point. Right now, we show little to no sympathy, and absolutely no empathy.
Right.
It's like we've become callous, and we seeing it in a way, and when it happens in a small town, it's magnified even more because we all related to a certain degree.
Right. It definitely hit home, because years ago I used to tell people, if you stop the idle time, you know, like you were just saying the video we saw earlier, you know, that you had kids that were just floating. So, meaning that they're floating, that there's a whole bunch of idle time. So, like I've always said, if a joker got to figure out how to pay his half of the rent, he don't got time to have no idle time to chill, smoke, and drink, and just chill all day, and just whatever, you know, he see or do, he just happen to do. And you stated in there in your post that, let me just find it. It said, if you have a male living with you and he's not working, and the kids had to step over him to go to school, he shouldn't be living with you.
Nah.
How often, and my question to you is, how often is that a reality in your community, in our community of Cumberland County? And tell us your thoughts on how that ever applied to you.
Well, you know what, Levi, I speak on that because I lived it. My mom, I lived in Amity Heights. We lived in a 5-bedroom apartment in Amity Heights with 6 kids. And my mom frequently had boyfriends that didn't work. They partied all night. She was on a fixed income, government assistance. Would do a little bit of side hustling, and they would party all night. I'm stepping over my stepdad to go to school. He gonna be in that same spot when I come home. If not, he gonna be in the dining room sitting at the table eating like he worked all day.
And as a kid, what did that say to you, though?
Well, that said to me, first and foremost, I'm happy I was a little bit more aware than other kids. I was saying I never want to be that type of man. But then you had other kids who saw that and said, that's the way life is. Why? Because my stepdads at the time, they ain't tell me like a man get up every day and go to work. He was glorifying his life. He ain't gonna never say what I'm doing ain't good. He gonna push that on you, and if you naive enough to believe it, you gonna buy into it, especially if you see it. You see, as a young man, you gonna try to be the man your mom want. If your mom want a lazy man, you gonna probably be a lazy man. There's a good chance if you're a lazy boy, you're gonna grow up to be a lazy man. So one of the things that I learned was a long time ago, even growing up in that environment, I had a guy by the name of Mr. Winfield who used to pay me $10 a day to stay out of the parking lot, to come in his little area in Amity Heights and clean up the beer bottles and stuff from him and his friends partying the night before. So at the age of 11, I was already working. I was getting $10 a day. I got my first job at the cucumber field at 12 years old. My next door neighbor, Mr. Joe, told me, you get paid for what you pick. I got on that bus 5:30 in the morning, and we got out of the field by 11:45, and I got a white envelope every day by 12:15. So I learned how to make money, even stepping over my mom, boyfriends. A lot of times I was coming home and I would be getting extorted for that money from my mom to get her boyfriend, for them to do what they wanted to do. So at an early age, I found out that for some of us, we're not gonna get the support that we're supposed to get from home. Home is confused. And if home confused, you're gonna go to school confused. If you go to school confused, you're gonna be in a community confused. Now, if you're living in a community where you confused and your next door neighbor confused, on the right, your neighbor on your left is also confused. Your neighbor that live across the way from you in the same area in the Heights also got the same type of man living in your house, in this house. What kind of community you gonna have? You're gonna have a bunch of confused brothers, because what's happening is the blind is leading the blind.
Definitely. So, speaking of that, now doesn't it seem like, wouldn't you say that women can have a greater impact on a lot of these?
Way more.
Males?
I blame women. I blame women first and foremost. And I want to say this to you. I know we in the church, but I want to be honest.
Be real.
I want to be honest. Do a survey. Go on a bar. Take a female to a local bar. She walk up to 10 brothers and say, at the end of the night, 10:30, 11 o'clock, meet me by my car. We're going back home to my crib to have sex. More than likely, all 10 of them going to be out by her car. A brother go in the bar, say the same thing to 10 females. Meet me by my car, 10:30, 11 o'clock, we're going back to my crib to have sex. He might get one.
She got to be drunk.
Who got all the power?
Women.
You got all the power. So when you start inviting a brother fresh home from Kentucky to your apartment to come live with you and your kids, you ain't do no research on him. You don't know who he is. You don't know what kind of brother he is, because we don't court no more. Now if you court, you corny. So you just inviting the first night in, you got a dude that's a murderer around your kids, or a pedophile.
A lot of that, let me tell you about that. A lot of that happens in Cumberland County.
And
they don't even know it.
Nah, nobody
does, and I never understood that. Nobody does research on, because if this joker already shows that he ain't taking care of his kids.
Why you got him around your kids?
Exactly. And then if he has charges, that's another.
Why you got him around your son?
So either some of these women got to be desperate, or I don't
I don't know what they is, but I know they need to be more responsible.
And fathers weren't there for them as well, so I know.
So they looking for love, right? But the sad part about it though, Levi, when you sit down and you have a kid, and you say, I ain't dealing with his dad no more, he ain't no good. And write down a list of things that his dad don't do or where he falling short.
Right.
Make that same list and compare it to the man you got living with your kid.
Right.
A lot of time, they lists match up.
Yeah.
But you will accept the shortcomings from this new man that you won't accept from the father of your children.
Right. Yep.
And therein lies the problem.
Yeah, so women definitely, and a lot of these men need to experience, because you got a lot of moms that are harboring these kids. You got kids, teenage, not even teenage, 22, 23-year-old men living in the same room that they was brought up on. They're brought up in. Probably still got a little twin-sized bed.
But you know what? Well, one of the things though, Levi, and this is one of the things I want to say to you, because this is one of the issues in our community.
Right.
The idea of dating.
Right.
For instance, I got 2 kids. I got a 22-year-old daughter who on her way to Rutgers to get her second bachelor's in nursing. I got a son who was certified welder. He's 20.
Right.
I tell you, like I told my kids when they started dating, Tiaza wasn't dating no boy because he could take her out. When Tiaza go out with that boy, we make sure she got money.
Right.
Because when you dating in high school, what should really be happening on these dates? You should be going Dutch.
Right.
Unless you're working.
Right.
Your kid ain't working. My daughter shouldn't be being taken care of by her high school boyfriend.
Right.
What that creates unnecessary pressure on that boy to feel like he got to go earn money. If you're a high school student and you play football in the fall, basketball in the winter, track in the spring, when can you work? So does that mean you're going to be eliminated from dating?
Right.
I remember when I was in high school, the girls here wanted the drug dealer high school boyfriend.
Yeah.
Well, I was the high school boy that played sports every season.
Right.
So I wasn't going to be able to take you out every weekend because probably I had a game or whatever. And I definitely ain't had the money.
Right.
And I wasn't about to go sell no drugs to impress you.
Right.
Now, those that end up being put in that position, you end up putting yourself in unnecessary pressure. So now you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. Now imagine starting to do that at 14, 15.
Right.
You ain't even old enough to get working papers yet. Where you gonna get money from?
Right.
When you living in a house where y'all under the poverty line. Where you gonna get money from? You either gonna rob, steal, and kill.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, we add unnecessary pressure to ourselves right there. Like, that's another lesson that need to be taught at home.
Right.
Like, it ain't your job to take care. You in 10th, 11th grade and your girlfriend talking about she wants sneakers for Christmas. For Christmas.
Right.
Her mom supposed to buy her sneakers.
Right, exactly.
Not her boyfriend.
Right.
But when you have moms who used to get that from their drug dealing boyfriends that they was dating that was 7 to 8 years older than them.
Right.
They giving that bad information to their daughters.
Right. It transfers over.
Yeah. So we got to do better with that.
Definitely. So my next question, now let's go back to, a lot of the different issues and the violence that goes on. What are some of the responses you've received from some of our young men on why it is, or why it is they did what they did, basically? Because I know you've been on each side.
Let me put this.
You've been on the victim and you've been on the suspect side.
Put this right here. Do this right here.
Go ahead.
Donald Scary killed my nephew in 2008. A couple years later, he go to court. He win the trial. He don't go to jail. On a Friday night, I'm downtown at a Tank Barbershop getting a haircut. The barbershop packed. It's a Friday night. There's one seat left open in the barbershop. In walks Donald Scary, the guy that killed my nephew. A million different things go through my mind when he walk in. It's only one seat. Donald does what anybody would do. He take the seat next to me.
Right.
So he was to the right of me. Sitting there for maybe 30 seconds, and I've had enough of the battle that I was going through internally that day. I tap him on the shoulder, and I say, let's go outside, we need to talk. Small town USA, Friday night, barbershop pack. Everybody in that barbershop know the dynamics of our relationship.
Right.
Everybody looking outside. I walk outside with that young man, and I said to him that day, I said, that night, I said, I never want to feel like this towards nobody ever again. I told him, I said, I'm a man of God. I said, the feelings I got towards you right now, the things that I was thinking, they not godly. Feel me? I said, I want to tell you this, and I hope you never forget it. I said, I would never forgive you for what you did to my nephew. I'll never forget it either. I said, but what we have to do as a community, one thing I learned through all of this, that we're going to have to move on. Because no matter what I think about you, no matter what I think about doing to you, it ain't going to bring Rakeem back. And not another family need to lose another son. I said, I need you to know when you look at me, when you see me out here, don't look at me as no enemy, because I don't see you as one. I went out and I stuck my hand out to shake his hand. He said, you going to be like this every time I see you? I said, I'm always the same, brother. I said, I don't let other people dictate my behavior. I said, my behavior is going to be a little different than anybody else's, because my level of understanding is different. Shook that young man's hand, gave him a hug. I told him, whatever you told God while you was going through that trial, I hope you stick to it. 6 years later, he killed his baby mom. Now he in prison for 64 years. I learned how to forgive. When I talked to a guy like Donald Scary outside of that conversation, it was, at one time, him and Rakeem was best friends. My nephew did rap music. He screamed Tank name in like songs at least 8, 9, 10 times, because that was his boy. But what ended up happening is they had a little bit of beef, small conflict that could have been resolved, but instead of the older people around them telling those young boys to sit down, squash because y'all boys, one faction grabbed Rakeem, another faction grabbed Donald, and they pitted them against each other. The old divide and conquer strategy, we still going for it. So my nephew ended up being the victim, and Donald ended up being the person executing the crime. And at the end of the day, they was one-time friends. That's happening here over and over again. A lot of these kids either play Major League Football, Major League Basketball. You're talking about the point guard throwing the ball to the center, and one day the center killed the point guard. The quarterback handing the ball to the running back, one day the running back killed the quarterback. That's what's happening here. And the sad part about it, when you look up and you ask the kids the question that you ask, why are they doing it, they don't even know. They don't even know.
And you know what's crazy? Now, you saying that they don't know, and this is what I try to tell like a couple of the young folk that, you know, we grow up, you know, mentoring and all that stuff. If you pay attention, a lot of the stuff that it's all across the country, of course, Chicago, Camden, Philly, all over. And they say the same thing, they don't even know. And I tell them, do you not know that sometimes with some of the music that you listen to, and you ever wonder why they play it and repeat and repeat and repeat? Because you got jokers that grown up in church, both parents in the household, parents ain't never dealt nothing with drugs. And they listen to all the same type of music. They got the same media sources in front of them. And it's like, like you said, they don't know. But a lot of this stuff happens from a lot of this media too that they don't even realize. We call it entertainment half the time. But they don't even realize it's basically guiding their mind to a whole nother level of, okay, this is what I'm gonna act out.
Well, you know what it is? It boils down to being, it's loop propaganda. It's played in the loop over and over and over again. And you hear something long enough, you start to believe it. You start buying into the idea of YOLO, you only live once. You start buying into the idea, I'm chasing the bag. You start buying into the idea, pull up, pop out. You start buying into that, and that ain't nothing but devil. That's the devil speaking to you. Well, we in the Bible said the devil gonna come through you through music. That's happening. So we hearing that now, and the sad part about it is another thing that we don't talk about enough is the science behind it. When it boils down to the development of the mind, we start talking about drug abuse. Now in America, we quick to point out the fact that the frontal lobe don't develop until 22 years old. So that eliminates your ability to make rational decisions. So now you are willing to make a knee-jerk decision, have no empathy, have no sympathy, because that part of your brain ain't even developed yet. Now we'll use that science in incarceration, but we don't use that science in communities that are hurting,
Right.
where we seeing young men pick up a gun shooting, and I say, what you do that for? I don't know.
Right, and then speaking on that, it's almost like it's like a medicated science, because I was just reading on a couple rappers who said they had to stop, because let's talk about it. Marijuana back in the day, marijuana didn't have these THC values that they have now. So now one of the rappers was saying, he stated that he had to stop all that because it basically clouded his mind and his judgment. So he would be signing deals and don't even be reading. You know what I mean? Contracts. And so he was like, all it is basically it's a system, and that's why you have a lot of athletes that they lose their minds and getting all upset, because a lot of the stuff that's going on, their mind is clouded. They're clouded with a whole bunch of basically medicated meds. It might be legitimate style meds as far as marijuana and everything else, but that's what they're utilizing to just get these young guys' minds. So now you add the music to it even more, and you add what they already live in, the situation that they living in. It's a major effect that, like you said, you don't know why, but you just did it.
And the sad part about it is, and we got to be honest with that too, because it's easier for those kids to go outside and get drugs and a gun than it is for them to get in the building to play.
Right. Yeah.
It's easier for them to push play on a radio than it is for them to get a job.
Right.
So a lot of these kids are stuck in a bad way, and I ain't making no excuse for them, because, again, if you're home confused and if your mom got a middle school education, her boyfriend, he was educated in the school of hard knocks, 10 years in prison, that education is not important in the home you live in.
Right. Yeah.
So you ain't gonna get pushed that way.
Right.
In that household, what's being preached to you is get money. And get money mean get money and by any means necessary.
Right.
And when we get it, we're gonna celebrate, we're gonna drink, we're gonna smoke that good weed, we're gonna go buy them new sneakers, we're gonna look like we doing it, even though you ain't been on vacation in 10 years. Even though it ain't nothing in your refrigerator but mustard, mayonnaise, and some...
You got a nice car, but you living with a chick on Section 8.
But I'm about to say, you got a nice car, but you got an Obama phone.
Right.
You feel me? You pulling your car up to the projects.
Right.
The vision, brother. The vision being clouded. And again, like you said, between the music, between the home structure, between what we've not given them, because one of the things that we also have to remember, you're going to end up where you at in life for two reasons: for what you do and for what you don't do.
Right.
We got to remember that too.
Yeah.
That plays a huge role in it.
Right.
So when you're not going to school and you're not paying attention and you're not focusing, you're going to miss stuff every single day.
Right.
I remember going to school and it was kids who was up all night, now they in school sleep, and right over intercom they saying, come sign up for Jake Job Training Program Association, come get a summer job. I go sign up for a summer job, start working a job, and they like, man, how you get that job? Man, they made an announcement doing homeroom, remember? Oh, you were asleep.
Yep.
So you walking through the world, you sleepwalking, and then when you get 28, 29, ready to be serious about life, 2, 3 kids in, a whole bunch of debt, sleeping on somebody's couch, now you're ready to get focused.
Right. There we go. So what signals does your community send to these young men, both positive and negative? And
First, we'll start with the positive. I can say this. Down at the Arms Center, we got an unbelievable PAL program started by Detective Sergeant Grant years ago. He ended up linking up, bringing in Detective Josh Thompson, Kirsten Lowe, Jahira Roman, unbelievable people. Have opened the doors. One of the things that they've done is they decided that we was going to extend our basketball open gym nights to everybody in the community.
Okay.
They keep the 22, 23, 24-year-olds off the streets.
Right.
Giving them opportunities. Dr. Terrence Hardy from Cumberland County College partnered up with us through Stronger Families, where we created opportunities for young people to come down and get jobs and post high school graduation skills for careers, college opportunities. There's a ton, I firmly believe there's a ton of positive opportunities here in the city of Bridgeton. There need to be a lot more. On the negative side, we're closing buildings too early. School ain't open, the buildings closed. Again, we don't have a recreation center, so if you're not an exceptional parent, and in the city of Bridgeton, your kids aren't going to have many options, many outlets.
Right.
You're going to have to put them in your car. You have to be able to put them in your car and drive them to Violin, drive them to Millville, drive them to Cherry Hill, drive them to Buna to get extracurricular activities. That's unfortunate here.
Right.
We battling the school, we battling with the usage of the football field for our midget league football team. That's the issue.
Right.
When the people sitting in power is holding back from letting the kids have a better life, that's a problem.
Right.
I think one of the things that we've done wrong here for a long time, we've had the wrong people in charge of recreation.
Yeah.
I've been doing recreation for years, and I don't think I ever would take a job from the city, but I've never been offered a city job for coordinate recreation.
Right.
I've been doing recreation for the last 20 years here in the city of Bridgeton. We got a current recreation director. If you call, one of the things I do every spring, I'm gonna do it again this spring. I pick up the phone and I call the recreation department for Bridgeton, for city of Bridgeton. And I say, I'm a parent and I'm moving to Bridgeton from another town.
Right.
I got a 12-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter. We're gonna be there by June when school ends. Can you please tell me what recreational programs you guys have for youth the age of my kids so I can get them signed up?
Right.
You know what answer I get from the recreation department every year?
What was that?
Well, we got a calendar with some things on it. What do you offer?
Right.
What do the city offer as far as recreation?
Right.
Now, when I was growing up here,
Yeah, plenty.
Bob Rose, the director of recreation, made sure that Southeast Gateway had a basketball program called the Tin Can Basketball League every summer.
Right.
We had basketball.
Definitely.
You knew it was free. It wasn't no $50, $25. It was free.
Right.
Get them kids off the street. Here's a recreational program. How do I meet my friend Terrence Jackson that live on Vine Street? How do I meet my best friend Ricky Moses that live on Mill Street? How do I meet my friend Mike Bartley that live on Pearl Street? How do I meet my friend Kenny Smith Bay who live on Spruce Street? I meet them at the Tin Can Southeast Gateway Basketball.
Right.
A free program.
Right.
That you got on that list and you wanted to make sure you was drafted every year.
Right. All from different sides.
All from we played together.
Right.
So that's why it wasn't no side of town because we participated in recreational activities together. Basketball, flag football, Matt and Bob Rose making sure we got a bus to go to Great Adventure.
Right.
For a kid like me living in the house with a mom on crack and a dad that wasn't there, those was our only summer vacations. Was the Tin Can taking us to Great Adventure once a year. And you had to have good behavior all summer. And again, you wanted to get on that list to make that trip.
Right.
You wanted to get on that bus. If you played good in those basketball leagues, Matt was going to take you to Violin to play an all-star game against Violin.
Right.
You was going to go to Wilmington, Delaware to play under the bridge against kids from Wilmington, Delaware.
Right.
So it was opportunities and it ain't cost us nothing. When I signed up for the Tin Can Basketball League 7 summers, my mom ain't had to sign me up.
Right.
Because my mom was absent.
Right.
Imagine if my mom had to sign me up, I would have never got those experiences. So right now, what's negative? Right now, I just got to talking about this to my nephews. 5 kids walking to the Bridgeton High School gymnasium on a Saturday, City League basketball. 5 kids walking to the gym, only 3 of them take off their clothes and they have a jersey underneath. The other 2 get in the stands. Other 2 sit in the stands. Because mom probably worked 3 to 11 that day, and then she worked 11 to 7 because she needed extra money.
Right.
And she wasn't there to sign him up the 5 days that they use for sign-ups.
Right.
Because it just don't fit her schedule.
Right.
We know this, but that kid is relegated to the stands because he didn't have nobody to sign him up.
Right.
I just told you, my mom never had to sign nothing for me to play recreation.
Right.
That was in 1989 to 1995.
Okay.
And at that time, we didn't have the gang problem that we have now. We should be giving our kids more recreation, easier access to recreation, but instead we become exclusive.
Right. And about the check.
And about the bread.
Yeah.
Oh, they ain't got the money, they can't play.
Right.
What you paying for that t-shirt? That t-shirt $7.50.
Right.
What you paying the refs? $20 a game? That ain't nothing. You
do a small fundraiser or something.
You getting that in a fundraiser, but you wouldn't have.
Waste. You know what's crazy? A lot of us adults waste more money than we put out.
Levi,
just on coffee or something
but
like
to be
that.
honest with you, people here will give.
Right.
I done seen it.
Okay.
People here give.
Right.
Phone call, an inbox, a good calls. I'm doing it. People here give. We got more people in Bristol that give than we know, than people know.
Right.
I done seen it.
Right.
I done seen both sides of it.
Yeah.
I see people. There's people who would rather give money than come give their time.
Right. Right.
But a lot of times we need the time.
Yeah, definitely.
See, one of the things that's happening to us right now with my basketball program, I'm getting more young men wanting to come coach, 21, 22. But when I was growing up, my coaches was guys like Tom Mackey. He was in his 40s.
Right.
Matt Wright in his 50s.
Yeah.
You feel me? David Santiago. These guys, Henry Herman.
Right.
You feel me? These kids getting coached by 19-year-olds. That's a problem.
So, yeah, and you know what? Because speaking on that, it's crazy because you're right. You know, they're getting taught by and coached by younger guys.
Their peers.
And then these are the same, you know, over the last 2019, what's crazy is you go on the newspaper and it was saddening because you know them and you know their heart, and you know that their mindset is really for the community, but they still might get themselves caught up in that atmosphere.
Yeah.
So that's why we've had so many, you know, you see go on Facebook or go online and you got the coaches caught up in something, you know, with the feds or something like that. Because you know you already got some people that come at all of us. Because I coach too, you coach, and they're like, oh, all y'all coaches is just old drug dealers. No, ain't none of all of us is not like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But those images right there, I understand where you're coming from because some of them still have some demons that they got to hide, not even hide, but bury. Or some old habits that they got to get rid of, or some people that they got to separate themselves from, because this type of stuff will come up, and then it's almost like a slap in the face to a lot of us, you know, that are trying to do the right thing in the community. So I definitely understand that with a lot of the younger guys.
Well, you know what? One of the issues with that too, man, and we have to be honest, like, and it goes back to we talking about the pastor would drive by in a nice car, but the drug dealer would stop. Usually the guy that checks every box, that's above board, that's doing the right thing, they don't got time for the community.
Yeah.
But that guy that got a little bit of stain on him, let's get a little bit of stink on him and say, I'll come coach.
Right. You know,
so at the detriment of the kids, the guys and the women that have made it here, they too intellectual or them did so much, they don't got the time to give time. But what they will give is a criticism of that brother that don't have, that don't check all them boxes. They'll be the first one to criticize him, but they'll be the last one to show up, to come coach, to come ref. I don't even went as far as told people, I don't need you to coach, I don't need you to ref. I need you to just come to the center, stand around for 15 minutes, and engage in a conversation with a kid or two. Be a fly on the wall. Come see what we got going on. On Facebook is, I'll be there, bro, when it's time. And I ain't, when y'all games, bro, the season over.
I ain't telling the whole
schedule. You done missed another season. Oh man, next time, count me in, bro. I counted you in the last 6 times, fam.
And you know what? You run into a lot of people like that because a lot of it, you got to think, a lot of it has to do with the moment. You know what I mean? A lot of times, our people in our culture, we love to live in the moment. So you got a movement, people paying attention. It's almost just like with the Nipsey Hussle thing. A lot of them jokers didn't even know who Nipsey Hussle was.
Nah.
So now y'all going to LA and y'all taking pictures.
Nip's out here doing it, but you won't come to the Arm Center in Bristol. Yo, I ain't tooting my own horn, but I'm out here doing it.
All day.
Levi, I never fathered a child. I love my 2 stepkids to death, but they got dads. One of the things I always did with them, no matter what, I've been in their life for the last 11 years, every week I make sure they call their father. Because I know the importance of having a relationship with your dad. I'm not going to preach nothing that I don't follow in my own house. But I never sire or produced a child. But I will give my last to any kid in this city. It's some people that act like they don't know they son down at the Arm Center with these sneakers on that his foot about to come out of. They act like they don't know that their kid need to sign up for something. It's out of sight, out of mind. This is a problem. But like you said, they'll get on a plane and go to LA and go throw up something, go buy a Crenshaw shirt. But I tell you to come put something in the kitty to get t-shirts for these kids, it's nothing. But you will contribute to Nipsey Hussle's family's millions of dollars of apparel being sold.
Let me ask you this. So you've been in different organizations over the last decade or more.
20 years.
20 years. So you've seen the good, you've seen the bad, you've seen the fake, you've seen the truth, You've seen the politics side of it. You've seen the
Everything.
downfalls. You've seen the schemes.
I've seen it all.
So what programs and organizations can you say in Cumberland County, just what we're going to talk about here, that you've seen that are necessary to have? Because I work for some
necessary to have, to be honest with you, one of the best programs out here right now. No money behind them, they're doing it on their own. Gateway actually giving them opportunity to run their program through their facility.
Right.
And Gateway do a good job of that. We just hosted the first Fuqua family Christmas at Gateway.
Right. Shout out to Gateway.
Miss May, the D. Edwin Hersey Center, Miss May opened that building up for the community.
Right.
Before her, Tracy Well Huggins opened that building up for the community.
Right.
Cal Green oversee that facility. They open it up for the community. So if you want to do something there, they come through because they remember the message of D. Edwin Hersey.
Right.
So that program, I could say they do a lot. Me and Tracy was doing dances once a month for teenagers every Friday. At the time when that song, The Jerk, was the song. We had kids jerk contests every week.
Right.
But we had parties. Socially, they come in to be able to drink soda, have pizza, and they partying with kids their age.
Right.
That worked. Tracy run an unbelievable program called Renewed Minds. She got her own nonprofit.
Shout out to Tracy.
Tracy Wells Huggins, Renewed Minds. Her program, Far Above Rubies. For the last 8 summers, me and Tracy been doing programs at Rowan University, incoming EOF students.
Right.
I do a boys caucus. She do a girls caucus. We've been doing that the last 8 summers.
Right.
So we've been getting results. Tracy runs a phenomenal organization, unbelievable program. The program right now that's doing very well in the city of Bridgeton is Nurture the Love.
Okay.
Risha Gillis Armstrong, the Gillis family. The Gillis family, unbelievable. Every single week, they got at least 30 to 40 young ladies doing different activities. It's beautiful.
Okay.
They get them dinner. They might, Christmas time, they might do gifts to the homeless or the unfortunate. Thanksgiving, they doing basket giveaways. They going to people's house and doing it. They building up a sisterhood inside of their program.
And how many years have they?
Nurture the Love been around now for 3 years.
Okay.
It's an upstart program, unbelievable. I can honestly say, and I say this wholeheartedly, United Advocacy Group. They brought in Stronger Families. Before I had anybody behind me, I was doing a lot of stuff on my own. Got a lot of flack from my wife about it. Gateway came through and gave me opportunities. Several summers they sponsored basketball. Same way with Complete Care.
Yeah,
I can honestly go to Curtis Edwards and say, listen, this for the community, we need it for the kids. It's done. I can even go to Mayor Kelly and say the same thing, and it's done. He's gonna put the city resources that he do have, and his hands tied with a lot of stuff. But when it comes to the Gateway resources, they've been limitless. Whether it's been book bag giveaways, whether it's saying, listen, John, look, I'm telling him we got a Major League Football that need new uniforms. Complete Care, Gateway, split the cost on the uniforms. Got it done. We need a field. John, you ain't got to make a lot of noise. We'll get it done. Tell us what you need. We have good people in motion. Like I said, United Advocacy Group, Pascal Sykes Foundation. I was doing stuff on my own. I got a call from a lady, Melissa Helmbrick. Melissa sat down with me. We met at Wawa, and we met at Dunkin' Donuts 3 different times and had conversations about what I'm doing in the community. She said, I want to bring you in with what we're doing. I said, what you want me to do? She said, I want you to continue doing what you've been doing, but we'll help you with funding. And it's been a match made in heaven. Nothing but growth. The Give Something Back Foundation, we've sent so many kids from the city of Bridgeton to college, full college opportunities where they ain't paying nothing. Beautiful.
So all those organizations that you just mentioned, they would be a beautiful collection of people and organizations if, say, somebody granted us a facility, a recreational center, where almost similar to like some Total Turf where you got soccer, everything. And those would be candidates that you would deem legitimate candidates to be a part of this recreation center, that goal, that plan that you...
Absolutely. They would be, I believe, maybe not everybody a partner, but everybody will be at the table in some aspect of it, because I feel as though those are the people that were here when we didn't have none.
Right, and still
are. They act.
They act. Miss Carol,
that's right. The work.
Tracy, Mary Kelly,
Carol Green.
Care.
Carol Green. Let me tell you something about Carol Green. Carol Green, and I got goosebumps right now. Carol Green brought me into a program, 2007, called Principles to Stand On, her own nonprofit. Our goal was we was in Salem High School doing an anti-gang program.
Right.
She gave me an opportunity to use that platform. I got on that platform. I made a lot of friends. Met a lot of good people in Salem County. I'm currently doing my own gang program at Penns Grove High School. Been doing it for the last 4 years.
Right.
Carol opened that door for me.
Okay.
While at Salem High School, I met a young man by the name of Jonathan Teller. Jonathan Teller, two-time All-American, Thorpe Award-winning running back from University of Wisconsin.
Right now.
He was one of my kids.
Okay.
Carol gave me that opportunity when nobody else did.
Right.
And I'll be forever grateful for that. And she also encouraged me to do stuff on my own.
Okay.